Lord. Okay, I had to jury rig this. Let me know if it's working. Awesome! Let me reposition. Okay, this is a bad setup today. Alright, we're going to go with that crap. Hello, everyone. First off, I want to apologize. Linda will not be joining us today. She had unexpected work that she had to do. So she's stuck in traffic trying to deal with a bunch of crap. So I'm going to have to run this one solo. Lord help me. But that said, welcome to Caffeine and Chaos. And again, I apologize for the startup. I've never had to, where I have this set up so I can stream my videoing with someone. I didn't realize that I actually had to hit the video call. So yeah, I wasn't sure I could actually get the video work. As it is, I ended up calling someone else I know in order to get the video up and just put mine up. So we jury-rigged it, but we're working. It is working. Alright, let's see here. Silent Ninja, welcome. Halloween, welcome. See, I remembered not to call you by your screen name. Peachy, welcome. DJ Lynn, hey, good to see you. Stephanie, good to see you as well. Silent, I bet you I know who you are, Silent Ninja. I bet you I do. I know your mama, don't I? Because there's only one person I can think that promised that they might try and show up. Well, the general plan was we was going to talk about how to improve your ability to work with spirits, as well as self-care and self-love work that a person can do in these current times. So that topic was recommended by one of our viewers last week. Linda requested it. I know she done her research to ask me all kinds of questions and throw me under the bus like she usually does. But we don't have the list of questions. So I figure I'll stick to the topic, answer any questions you all have, and give my 2 cents as best I can do so. Welcome, Abraham. So, first off, let's start with the spirits one, because that can usually ends up being the shorter one to talk about, and the other one, yeah, it's a pretty big topic. So, when you're working with spirits, and you're wanting to improve your ability. With all my students, the first thing that I find that they really should be doing is lowering their expectations. And I don't mean... Uh-oh. Hold on, we got... Crap. Hey, Hollywood, this is going to be weird, but could I shoot a video call to you because it keeps closing this one? Or Peachy, or anybody who knows me? Okay, cool. Thank you. It'll just be my big old head on screen. It won't be you, so. Ah, what happened? I broke it. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I fixed it.
Oh, cute.
I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I should have known it wouldn't be as simple as I thought to just fix that one complication. But that's okay. So, okay. Now, what I mean by lowering expectations, I don't mean you should lower your expectations of results, but you do. Most people, when they come to working with spirits, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but they honestly come to it with a Hollywood-like approach. And because of that, they end up messing up their successes. Because they're getting success, but since it's not as flamboyant and flashy, they feel they're not getting successes. That is the first hurdle that every one of my students seems to have. So, when you do start working with spirits, they will communicate to you in various ways, from you being able to see them and hear them, or feel their presence in the room, the same way, you're like get goosebumps or your hair stands up when someone walks in the room or is staring at you. You don't really know they're staring at you, but you can sense it. So that kind of a sensation, as well as temperature fluctuations. And when we say hear and see, those are actually probably bad terms, but they're the best ones we got. Because you will see and hear the spirit in your mind's eye. 90% of the time, any entity you're working with will be seen and heard through your mind's eye, which most people currently use the word imagination. Your imagination generates and filters information that comes to you. So it uses the same facilities as your arcane senses. There are some practitioners now who've started using the term magical imagination to overcome this hurdle, because your imagination, that mental theater, is what's going to help you collect that information and allow your brain to process it and present it to you in a way that you can interpret and understand. So it's important to understand that, because people are expecting to see something tangible in front of them, like you're watching this video. They expect their physical receptors to be able to pick it up. But your eyes and your eardrums aren't picking it up. It's actually your psychic senses, which will present directly in your mind. They don't use your physical sensors at all. That's what I mean by we need to lower our expectations. Does that make sense? Did I lose anybody? Any questions on this one? Now look at that, I may have answered it. Alright, cool, there was good. Let's see. So that's going to be one of the first things that you need to do. Because if you bring it down like that, your expectations hit a more reality. And it also helps you to overcome your doubt. Yes, Halloween, it is very much like them talking in your head. A form of telepathy. So like 90% of the time, the information will go straight into your head without your ears perceiving it. And the reason a lot of people have trouble with this is if they think they hear a voice in their head that doesn't present in the room physically, they immediately call it their imagination. They think they're making it up. It's not real. And that kicks in doubt. And the more you start doubting what you're doing, you actually start cutting your connection to be able to receive the information. And it creates a big snowball effect. But if you understand first and foremost that the information will present in your mind's eye, then when that information starts coming through, you're less likely to doubt it. So, for example, what I usually have my students do is I will have them put on headphones and watch something. So I literally am isolating both their eyes and their ears. And then after they've watched it, I replay whatever it was, but I cut off one sense. So I may blindfold them. So now they're watching it and they can hear it. And since they're hearing it, in their mind, I have them actually playing and picturing what they saw earlier. This allows them to develop their arcane sight, and it allows them to work on their visualization so that things can present in their mind's eye, and it also lets them understand how their mind's eye presents information to them, which comes back to that magical law of know thyself, because it really helps to know how you process this information. And then I repeat the process, only this time I unblindfold them. Now they can see it, but now we take the headphones away so they can't hear it. And now they're watching it, and their mind's eye is having to fill in the dialogue. So now they're actually seeing how information is received from an auditory perspective within their mind's eye. Does that help a little bit? Because it will present differently from person to person. I do have one student, when an entity speaks to her, everything is typed out like you're texting on your phone. Because she's so used to like texting and communicating through messages and stuff. It's just, that's a comfortable way of receiving something if she's not face-to-face talking. So no matter what style of spirit work she's doing, that's how it presents. And she literally, in her mind's eye, she can see the text popping up. But she's been texting her whole life, so to her that's as good as talking. And then there's some people, it's less heard and more just known. It's like an entire paragraph of knowledge just pops in their head, and it's like, instead of it being spoken and heard, everything that would have been said, they just know it now. So, does that help any? Okay, Hollywood, who's being nice enough to let me piggyback the camera off her thing, was letting me know it was appearing we got cut off. So hopefully we don't get lost. Okay, because if you have any more questions on it, do let me know. I want to try and hit this, because this is like one of the hardest obstacles when it comes to working with spirits. And working with spirits and entities can go down such a huge rabbit hole quick. I want to make sure we get this. And of course, directly after that is the doubt. When the information starts coming, you should actually pay attention to the information. This is one reason why, if you're going to work with spirits, and I would say any magic really, get you a journal. So you can write down all the stuff that comes. Now, that being said, let's say you're reaching out to a spirit about dealing with a healing issue. And instead of healing, suddenly you're worried about paying your taxes or doing the laundry or something that has nothing to do with what you're working on. That is more of your mind worrying about anxieties and stuff that you need to be pushing aside with meditation before you get into it. Which again is why meditation is the foundation of all work. Because it helps you clear your mind and focus it on the subject at hand. But again, if you have that journal, you're writing all this stuff down, you can easily sort through what was spirit and what was just random crap popping in your head also. And everything I'm covering here is actually true for all forms of spiritual contact, whether it be through meditation, trance work, scrying, sigil contact, or full evocation. So, okay. Any questions at this point? I swear I wish I had background music or something, because when I have to wait for, because it's just like I'm just sitting here. Not that y'all type slow, that's not what I'm saying. It's just, it feels weird for me because, again, I don't like cameras. Well, Stephanie, if you got Discord, you should hop into the Working Dragon Mystic Discord channel that we got. If you haven't already. You might have already. I have trouble keeping up with everybody. Yeah, meditation is really a foundational skill. I would personally, ideally, I would say a person should build a meditation practice where they're meditating twice a day, daily. Now, that's in an ideal situation and world. A lot of us are busy. We got kids, we got work, we got all those little craps. So you should do it as much as possible and as regularly as possible. If you're real hectic, I would shoot for once a day. If you can't do once a day, then try and move it into every other day. Yeah, I can drop the link. I figured out how to do this last week. Or no, Friday's when I figured out how to do it. So that's even worse if I forget now. I really hope that did not just... This may or may not work, people. I'm having to use an unfamiliar setup because the way we usually stream the dual episodes as opposed to the way I do just my solos is very, very different. So my controls are completely screwed up from normal. But that should get you there. Peachy, that's a good way to get started on your practice. Once a day with the Dragon's Flame Ritual, that's great. That's an awesome meditation practice. If time-wise, I'd say work it up to a 5-10 minute meditation practice at minimum. If you want to go past it, just keep on rocking it and build it up. Randy, I did post it in the chat. I don't know if it showed up as a link, but it's there under Drake Valentine. Okay. So I'll be looking for you, Silent Ninja. DJ, I don't know why. Like I said, my controls are all screwed up here. Let me try and drop it again. You know what? Actually, hold on a second. You know what? If you scroll down to the description under the video, the link's already there. It says Discord. I don't even remember putting that there. It must have stayed from when I uploaded the details last week. That's kind of a cool perk. Here I've been clicking around trying to figure out my buttons and making things worse, and I've had it down there the whole time. Wish I'd known that. I just told you all that. This is what I get for thinking, ain't it? Well, see, Peachy, sounds to me like you got a pretty good solid meditation going. I know a lot of people who can't do 15 minutes. Even in my meditation course, I mean, we cover multiple styles of meditation. But when you're learning meditation, the first goal is 5 minutes, then the second goal is 10 minutes. And if you can get 10 minutes twice a day, that's considered a solid meditation practice. Anything past that is just icing on the cake. I believe you would be Mr. Ask. Or at least that was my guess from earlier. Yeah, I got it right. I prefer not to use first names if you don't have it on the screen name. So. Or in some cases, I use a screen name from somewhere else when somebody don't like their first name. Happens. Or I try to. Yeah, I don't think I ever knew that because, I don't think until you all found my Facebook page that I even knew your all's last name. As well as I knew your mom, I don't think I ever thought to ask her last name. Trying to understand Yeah, so see, Peachy, you're wanting to work on the arcane sight side of it so you can see. That's what you're kind of looking for. Okay, let's see. JC, hi there. Do I know if anyone has attempted to correlate magical, occult, esoteric systems that work with dragons with other Eastern systems that work with Nagas? That's actually a really good question. As far as actual systems, no. But I do know a few dragon magic practitioners who do work with Nagas as well as dragons. Much like I've not only worked with dragons, but I work with demons and occasionally angels. And well, when it comes to gods, I've worked with gods across every pantheon almost. So they kind of do the same thing, and they dove into working with Nagas and Jinn a lot in their particular practice. And I won't lie, they've got me real interested about working with Nagas because I've encountered one or two in my time, and I did enjoy working with them. At least the one or two I met. But I do know practitioners who have incorporated them deeply into their practice, similar to how like if you ask me what my two mains are, it'd be dragon magic and Norse magic. So the Norse side is very integrated in my dragon magic. So yeah, it happens. I just realized my ring's missing. Okay, that's gonna bug me. If you guys see me playing with my hand more than normal, it's because I'm OCD. My ring's missing. Ninja, that'd be a hard one, man. I generally go with, when it comes to what a mythical creature is, with that question, over the years I've noticed that it depends on your energy, and it also depends on your mental processes, and those are things that can actually change throughout your lifetime. So I've actually met someone who, they didn't like it, but early in their life, dolphin actually ended up being their spirit animal. But as they grew up and they matured and they went through life experiences, it actually did shift over to a mythical creature. And I want to say that person ended up as a griffin. So it can shift. And man, it has been so long since we talked. I would actually think something like something in the lichen area, the griffins even, because of the eagles and everything, because for some reason a lot of that strength and that nurturing and that, I don't know, I almost want to say musical. I can't remember if you have anything to do with music, but I almost want to say musical aspect would come through in whatever your mythical animal would be. Peachy, actually, you mentioned the hugging and the scene. I got some good tips for that. 1 second here. Oh, well, see, that's why I was picking up on the music. There we go. Yeah, I'm getting better and better at this whole internet thing. And a bunch of you seem to be jumping into the Discord. Thank you very much. It'll be awesome to have you over there in the chats. So when it comes to seeing an entity and understanding its appearance, that's where a lot of people do stumble, and they wonder how you get to that and how you prevent yourself from just making the image up in your head. Good evening, Rust. Hope I pronounced that right. The way I was taught to do it, and seems to work really well, is visualize in your head one of two things. Either a black mass that is roughly the shape-ish of the entity that you're calling on, which is easier for most entities that take on a humanoid shape because you just need like a shapeless human figure. Or you want to visualize a clay figure, again, no details at all, it's just random. Think kind of like an unformed piece of clay or mass that a sculptor hasn't started adding details to yet. With dragons, it gets more complicated because instead of just a humanoid form, you kind of got to have a big block. And as you're working with the entity, let the entity fill in the details on that block. So as you're staring at that block, you're going to see certain details start to form on it. And that allows you, the entity, to take on the form it wants to present with you. And that'll help you to understand its form that it's presenting, and it also helps you overcome the doubt of you just putting the image on it. Well, dragons are very vocal. There's no doubt about it. And you could very well be a dragon. I won't lie about that either. Especially with the drumming. They love that stuff. Okay, Lou. Well, I don't work with him a lot, as some of you already know, but I have worked with him during my Clefothic workings. Originally, he showed up mostly in either a white or black suit, blonde hair, and it was usually shoulder length or longer. Yeah, I mean, the only way to say it is a very good-looking guy. A few times he did show up with darker hair. So that's how he originally would appear to me. Last time I reached out to him, he showed his sense of humor. That's the best way to put it, because he showed up as the character Lucifer from the show Lucifer. And that actually killed the ritual for about 10 minutes because I couldn't stop laughing. It completely threw me out of my headspace, and I had to collect myself, get back into it and everything, and which he reverted back to his normal form after that. Okay, I'm reading this in case you wonder why I'm all standing here. JC, I would totally agree with you. When I first got into dragon magic, I didn't know it was a thing. I really didn't. The experience on how I got there, it was literally a guy who didn't exist. Me and like 5 other people saw. I talked to him, and he's the one that told me about dragon magic. And like I said, 20 other people was walking around the guy, so I'm not the only one who hallucinated this. But he wasn't on the security cameras either. And I'm a dense person. I admit, but I can take a hint that big. So I looked it up, and that's when I found Conway's books. And so I started studying there. And you really have not seen any real works in dragon magic since. I mean, there's like one or two that pop up, but they never really caught on or anything. And I don't know, the dragons have always been pushing me more and more with different teachings and everything, up to and including the pathworking that they've laid out for me over the last, 6 years? And that's actually what we're getting ready to publish on April 15th. The first of 4 classes will be coming out. That is that complete pathworking. But I've been teaching for so long, and dragons aren't something you hear about. You just don't. When I first started teaching, it was meditation, evocation, candle magic, herbs. This is the stuff people were always asking about. So when I started the channel, I started with the magical basics. No one cared. I did a brief summary on dragon magic, and I honestly didn't think I put enough info in it when I launched the video. And that's when y'all showed up. So, yeah, the dragons are clearly moving more and more in the world, and they're reaching out more and more to humanity. I have seen that over the years. And I'm now starting to see humanity responding, and there's definitely a thirst for that knowledge and information now. So that's actually got me hopeful, considering that dragons do focus more on that balance, and they don't really care left or right. The magician can go either way, so that's pretty awesome. I would totally agree with you on that. And yeah, I would definitely say the Nagas are going to play a part in that. Because both Jinn and Nagas are entities that I've been running into a bit more, even though I don't mean to. Yeah, she recently passed away. I think it was it early this year or late last year she passed away? I was actually really sad to hear it, because there for a while, me and her was messaging back and forth, because I was actually sharing the stuff I had found with her and getting some feedback from her. And she's actually one of the ones who encouraged me to publish it if the dragons wanted me to. Now, I thought I was going to do a book form, and that was silly because I tried and tried and tried. I can't organize a book to save my life. And then my wife convinced me to go online. Or, well, actually, Ninja's mom might have been the first person to ever suggest me going online. And my fear of cameras pretty much kept me from doing that until my wife made me do it. And now here I am. But yeah, her passing away, that was something that I was sad to hear it, because she is the one who really started the work. I know a lot of people think it's too Wicca-ish and too fluffy, but she is the first one to publish and get it started. And if it wasn't for her works, I wouldn't be here. I still wouldn't know about it. So, always honor those who came before you is kind of what I was taught. So, yeah. I was kind of sad to hear that. In fact, I made sure to get the book. She passed away before her last book actually was released, so I made sure to get it. Yeah, you do see a lot of paranormal. Dragons are drawn to energy, and paranormal activity tends to happen in large areas of energy too. And dragons also love to work with the spirits of the land and the spirits of the dead if they can if they can help them. So it's not unusual for the two to overlap there. As far it passing to a new generation, you might be right, JC. You really might. Most of you know I'm not one to toot my own horn, so I shy away from thinking I might be where the baton got passed. But even if you take me out of the equation, well, I guess you can't fully. But what my hope is that the way this path working's laid out, where it's not laid out as a tradition. It's laid out to teach the magician to work with the dragons, so they can gain further knowledge and utilize it and customize it in their path. And my hope from there is we will start seeing a larger stream of information on dragon magic from different points of view coming in from that. That's my hope. Ninja, your energy's always your energy, it's always been interesting to me because it's solid, it's stern, but yet there's a certain compassionate, caring side about it that you really don't see in most guys. I don't want that to sound like I'm saying it's a feminine energy, because it's not. That's what fascinates me about it. Beyond that, it's really hard for me to put that one into words, dude. Actually, you know what? It's not. Your energy reminds me of Freyr's, who he is one of the Norse gods, and he is a very kind, compassionate, and caring person, but he's also a warrior, so he does have that strength aspect to him. But I don't work with him a lot, but it just hit me. That's where I've seen the energy before. Paprika? Well, paprika is great for banishing. It's great for uncrossings. It's also great for crossings. It's great for healing. It's actually great for blood magic even. Paprika can actually act as a blood substitute, but not as strong as blood, but a stand-in. And it can also add potency to your blood magic as well. And it's also really great in boosting the arcane senses and your psychic facilities. Those are the ones that I remember right off the top of my head. And it is actually a spice I've wanted to do a video on. It's just I got so slammed with needing to get out other videos and, of course, recording the classes, and that I haven't been able to get back to the kitchen witch videos. And I know Linda's told me I should do more live streams as far as cooking, so if I can figure out a way in that tiny freaking kitchen to do it, we might. But I would like to do more kitchen witch style videos or modern magic videos, because I really enjoyed those. JC, you're actually absolutely correct. One of the lessons the dragons taught me was, which is actually what I'm doing the video for Tuesday on, the 3 arcane pillars that the dragons talk about. And the dragons are very clear that if a magician gains a functional working knowledge and or mastery of those 3 arcane pillars, which they refer to as divinations, evocation and invocation, and journey work, that there is no knowledge or information outside his reach if he wishes to do the work. And in the last 8 years since they first told me that, I have been testing it and trying to find fault in that statement, because I hate statements that seem so complete. But I haven't. I really have not been able to find fault in that statement. And the reason for that is, if there's a bit of knowledge you need, like let's say you want to learn certain things about Odin, but you're having trouble finding the information. When in doubt, go to Odin, ask him. Travel the plains. Don't rely on another magician to tell you their opinion. You go there and find it. So with evocation and journey work, you can bring the entity to you and talk to them, or you can go to whatever plane you want. And divinations, I know we see it as predicting the future, but it's a lot bigger than that. It's about being able to glean knowledge from nothing. So that's one reason I love scrying, is because I can actually utilize it to view in real time different places, different planes, and at the same time I can use it to scry and pull knowledge from the ether, as it were. And all this stuff I've learned directly from the dragons, and that's what they try to teach us. And one of the things that this course will teach is, I'm not just going to give you dragons and sigils and say, here you go. You're also going to learn how to go out and find things for yourself. So by the time you complete the 104 course, you shouldn't need another book on dragon magic. That's the goal. Because you will be self-sufficient to pursue your path no matter where you want to go. And mind you, the dragons are the one that laid this all out, and so I'm just at this point following their direction. Do I think the music can affect the person? I want to say yes, but at the same time, I don't know, because almost every person who's tried to guess what music I listen to is wrong. So I don't know, but I do have to think that it does have some effect, because it does create an energetic pattern. So I think at the end of the day, I think I would say yes. I think music would have an effect on the person. Abraham, the answer to that question is both. The information will be projected exactly as the spirit intended. The problem we run into is, first off, how your brain tries to translate and interpret it, because it's got to go through your arcane senses, then it's got to break through your doubt, and then it's got to break through your understanding. So this is where the magician's ability, time, and experience really comes in, to be open and receptive to that information, because it can get a little wonky at times. and it does take practice. But with that said, when that happens, entities generally keep relaying the information in different ways, trying to get you to understand it. So it can take time to get the information through, but most entities will continue to try. And there's times where the information comes through dead on perfect, and I've still seen the magician interpret it wrong just because they didn't like the actual answer. Sometimes magicians hate the truth. And since the truth wasn't what they wanted and they didn't like it, they ignore it and they go their own way anyway. Which I've never seen that end well. Peachy, okay. The 102 class, actually, we're going to get into astral evocation in the Dragon Magic 102 class. And we are actually going to start path working with other dragons, not just the rulers. So we're going to be branching out and working with other dragons. So you will be doing more meditations. We'll be getting deeper into some journey work. And we'll be ramping up evocation. Yes, through this path working, all three of those arcane pillars are going to be built on. And, of course, the foundation of those pillars is meditation. Yes, JC, and yes, big yes on that self-reliance. Big, big yes. I am the last person you want to ask about what to write a story of. I can't write. I am not a creative person. People think I'm creative because I used to DM, but if you actually look at my DM style, you realize I'm not creative. I created a world, and I created a few things to fall onto if things got slow. Otherwise, I literally let my players run the game. And all I did was kind of corral them. That's all I did. I didn't create anything. I took the lazy way out. Though I will say right now, modern fantasy and fiction seems to be really a big thing right now. I don't know how long that title hold. Oh, thank you, Halloween. Yes. Which, yeah, that leads us to our next topic, because I know if Linda was here, she'd be like, Drake, time, and I don't even know what time it is. Oh, Lord, yeah, okay, we've almost killed our hour easy. So we'll probably go over. So, I meant to mention this during the Research and Ramblings episode on Friday. I'm starting a weekly challenge to help us improve magically and improve ourselves, and, well, to give us something to do while we're stuck at home. And this week's challenge, what I want you to do, if you want to take part, because I'm actually doing it myself, and on Friday during Research and Ramblings, I'll share what I've done and everything, of course, and you're all invited to share what you found and what you did. But I want you to spend time daily in meditation on self-care and self-love, and how you can improve it in your life and how you can bring it into your life. But I also want you to actually create a spell or ritual or both, custom from the ground up, to increase self-love in your life. And I want you to utilize that spell or ritual at least a few days for this week. I know that it may take 2 or 3 days to actually craft it, but you got 7 days. And then if you'd like to share it, you can either share it in the Discord with everybody, which if you want to read the challenge and you're in the Discord, go to announcements. The type-up's there. You can share it in the Discord, or Friday when I'm talking about it and tell y'all what I got going on and what I came up with. If you feel comfortable, you can share your experiences as well. And I'm hoping to start doing these weekly, so we can flex our magical muscles and grow as practitioners. Because too many people just fall into pattern doing the same. It's good to reach out and spread those muscles. Try new things. Create new magics. And yeah, I completely forgot about it. Luckily, Hollywood up there, she called me out on it. She's like, "You didn't mention that." And I was like, "Crap." So, yeah. Thank you, Hollywood. I will be on the Discord. I usually make a point to hop in Discord, especially after the live streams, for any questions that didn't get answered or got missed, those kinds of things. And honestly, I have it up on my computer most of the day, even when I'm stuck editing. It's kind of my sanity keeper, because I hate my own voice, and when I'm editing, that's the only thing I hear. So Discord really kind of keeps my sanity. Which most of the people who have seen me in Discord they'll admit that I'm usually in there complaining about editing. Oh yeah, Peachy, you can do it twice a day if you want. There's no problem with that. In fact, there was actually a day where I had a massive ritual load, and I kept getting interrupted. So I ended up doing the Ritual of the Flame 9 times that day. Well, I've never been accused of being 20. Even when I was 16, I got accused of being 40. That's what happens when you get gray hair at 13. And when you're 6'2" with gray hair, yeah, they just assume you're much older. I'm actually at the point where now when people guess my age, it actually sounds right. Not that I'm 40 yet, but at least I'm getting close. DJ, that's awesome. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, definitely share it out there, because this is definitely something everyone could do. And, well, like I said, it's always good to work to improve ourselves. And I will have to give credit. Hollywood actually is the one that suggested this challenge. I was thinking about it, and they pitched it out, and I was like, that's a great one. We're doing it. Yeah, I mean, when I was like 13 and 14, it was kind of nice. I was the tallest kid in the room. But, and of course, not getting carded was kind of nice, too. Not saying I ever took advantage of it, per se. That would be wrong. I'm not saying I didn't, either. Oh, that's right, Halloween. Oh. Why did it? How many times have I screwed that up tonight? Anyways, yeah, it's actually Halloween, and that's Halloween right there. The one that corrected me. Wait, what? You actually go by Hollywood too? Okay, that's just creepy. Yeah, she doesn't like me using her real name, so she asked, and I respect it. Of course, it'd be better respected if I actually remembered the one she told me. Oh, okay. You meant it as a joke. I apologize for messing it up there, Halloween. I really do. But no, self-care is important for anyone. But I've actually found that if you start practicing magic or spirituality in any form, really, I would actually say self-care becomes even more important. And a large part of that is you start being able to shape the world around you to manifest what you want. Therefore, that energy starts following your thoughts. And if your thoughts go into a bad, negative, or dark place, you start manifesting and shaping that drastically around you. And that's a hard hole to get out of if you think about it. Because if you're doing spell work once a day to manifest something good, and let's say you spend 30 minutes to an hour, that still leaves 23 hours in the day that's, if you're just focused on the negative, that's going to basically push against the positive. So self-care becomes very, very important. And if any of you saw my video on living a magical life, where I say everything should have a magical meaning to you, I mean that. Even when you go shave, and I know my wife tells me all the time shaving can be a hassle, and honestly I think the same thing. But turn it into something that you do for yourself. Something, it's a gift. It's a time that you set aside for yourself. Even make it meditative. So for me, as y'all know, I recently went bald again. So I only razor shave my head once a week. Otherwise, I just touch it up with an electric razor. But that once a week that I do, I go in there. It's a full hot shower. It's, I do the works. I come out, full shave. I get dressed. I mean, you would think I was going out on the town. I'd make such a production of that shower. And it's a treat to myself. So self-care can be as something as simple as that. Even a hot bath, if you actually have a bathtub. Those things are freaking awesome. And one thing I do for myself daily is my first morning cup of coffee, I shut everything down and it's just me time. I will sit and I will enjoy that cup of coffee. I will unwind. That's my me time. And don't take long to drink a cup of coffee, but that little tiny piece of me time can make a huge difference in your day. And of course, regular grounding is also a wonderful thing to do. Yep, that pretty much does sum it up there, JC. I mean, what one thinks can become a reality if they dwell on it and all those things. It's okay to think something. Like, let's say somebody does something that makes you mad, and you think about hitting them with a chair. Well, that one quick thought might make you feel good. And if it makes you feel better and you de-stress from that quick thought, and that's as far as it goes, that's a wonderful thing. That's great. That thought served a purpose. It de-stressed you. It brought you down, mellowed you. You're back in control. Now, if you take that thought further, then you're going to get in some trouble. So, yeah, I mean, we should be mindful of what we're thinking, what we're speaking. But you know what? Let's actually try something different here when it comes to self-care, because I know in Magickal Coffee Hour we discussed it before, and I was just kind of spitting out things you can do. But let's try this. Does anyone have something that they're comfortable mentioning, or at least summarizing, that I can give you a possible ideal for self-care that you can add into your life? Let's kind of make it audience participation here. Is it bad? I laughed. No, I don't see that bad. See if anybody has anything to share. Alright, until somebody puts something up, or if when it comes to self-care, the first obstacle most people run into is time. They don't know where they're going to find the time. And I understand this one, because honestly, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I'm doing something. But you can, if you think about your day and what you have to do, you can actually find those have-tos, like a shower, and you can turn them into something for yourself, something time to relax, unwind, to just shut your brain down, or just focus on one thing. Like a cup of coffee, or even your lunch. I know it sounds silly and ridiculous, but finding those little things can make a huge difference. You can ask, but you'll need to send me at least a picture of them, and you should probably do that via Facebook. I don't want to be putting people's pictures public, but I can do it, just not on stream. See, Peachy, that's a good way to do it right there. Let's see what we got here. Anya said, how can I use meditation to sort my own mind? Is there a certain style of meditation is best for this? I would use focused meditation for this one, Anya, personally speaking. Because what you can do is you can actually get into that meditative state, and you can actually visualize yourself sitting across from yourself to where you can literally have that conversation. And you and yourself can actually start talking, asking questions of each other, and actually sorting through the things that you need to work on. So that is actually one way I would do that in meditation. You could even ramp that meditation up deeper if you've already built an astral sanctum, because then you can move the meditation into your astral sanctum. And since that moves closer to trance work, you'll see slightly better results out of that. But that is one way I would do it. Which, that's something, when I was doing shadow work, and it was a particularly rough shadow work, I did use that style of meditation to confront the other me and to have a sit down and chit chat when we weren't doing the full on harsher stuff. And it really did help me get through that. Now, if you've learned evocation, you can also evoke yourself, which is interesting. But you specifically said meditation, so I answered the meditation. The dragons don't necessarily have a middle pillar ritual, or at least that I've encountered per se. They do have versions of the Dragon's Flame ritual that are beyond just the basic one that's on the channel. And you could say that like the final version of that ritual would act as a middle pillar ritual, because you're literally pulling down all 9 elements straight through you. You are the epicenter. And it's just going ballistic in the amount of power that's coming down. And then there's something that's called the Dragon Fire meditation that they add to it, where not only are you meditating in that energy, but you start energy cycling all that fire and those flames through all your energy centers, and it actually builds up and pretty much it goes critical mass, which is one of the things we do teach in the course. You do learn the Dragon's Fire meditation in the course, but we start you with just the basic Dragon's Flame ritual, because dropping all 9 elements in their full strength on a person is just mean. That's just asking for trouble. But that'd be the closest thing to a middle pillar, is utilizing the Dragon's Flame ritual in any of its incarnations, and then utilizing that Dragon's Fire meditation. Or at least from what I remember of the middle pillar ritual. I should also specify that it has been a long time since I've done that ritual. Now, I do have a lesser banishing ritual that includes dragons. I haven't used it in years. I know a lot of people love it, but I might do a video to just publish it, because I mean, it's pretty much the lesser banishing ritual. It just replaces the god names and the angels. But it does get good results. Yeah, JC's right. That is a form of movement meditation that helps you empty the mind like that. The reason I didn't recommend that one, JC, it sounds like they're not really wanting to quiet the mind so much as get it talking. But you could actually utilize that one to quiet the mind and then to start running the questions through yourself also. No, headphones won't affect it. Evoke yourself. Well, you can invoke yourself, but usually it's evoking is a bit more beneficial. That's actually a really good question, Halloween. Evocation, there are certain traditions that will disagree, but for the majority of arcane lore and occult knowledge, the definitions would go as this. Evocation is an external communication where you're having a conversation and working with an entity outside of yourself. Invocation is where you pull part of that entity's energy and or presence into yourself and you work with them and communicate internally. So think of it as E, external, I, internal. Oh, Lord, Peachy. Well, Linda's presence is clearly here still yet. Peachy made sure of that. Well, Stephanie, we're bound to understand you. It's a nut house up in here. That and everyone that I have talked to in here, which I think most of you, JC, I think you're new, but everyone here is very open-minded, very understanding, and totally willing to listen, which is great. It's a great way to learn. Yeah, just send it through Messenger. And I'll get to it after the stream. But no, Peachy, that was a great question because that is actually a hard thing. A lot of people have trouble working through stuff where they really want to talk to themselves. So that was a really good question. As was yours, Halloween, because that is, I forget that that's, those are two words that people may not actually know the difference of too well. And they are used, depending on your traditions and whatnot, they get used so differently. It can get confusing. Like, I want to say it's demonolatry, the kind of the religious work. They view evocation strictly as negative. That it's abusive, it's demanding, it's enslavement of any entity that you evoke. Whereas invocation is, they view it as the respectful working. And I'm not sure how they reach those conclusions. I've been trying to figure that out. I do understand that if you look at like the Solomonic rites and the way that those spirits are evoked, well, yeah, I mean those rites, the way they're written, they're pretty. I mean, they are threats. I mean, the evocations are literally written as threats. But you can evoke in a respectful manner as well. But that's a topic for another day. Okay, any other questions before we get ready to wrap up? Not sure how long we've been up here. Okay, not too bad. Okay, well, here we go. Yes, you can. I actually recommend it because when you get down to the process of evocation, when you get to the evocation itself, what that is it's a repetitive set of words that's to help you connect to the entity and also to help pull the entity's presence closer. So there are people, Azonoth Mason's one, she writes these gorgeous, I mean absolutely gorgeous evocations, but they're like a page and a half long. And you either have to memorize it or read it. And I cannot memorize that much and say it without constantly worrying about whether I'm saying it right. And I can't read and stay down in that meditative state. So as beautiful as they are, those won't work for me. For some people, they work great. So all the evocations I use are really short and are easy for me to repeat over and over and over and over again, so I don't have to think about it. Because I have to keep my focus into that meditative state. So yeah, I keep mine really short, but you can write your own. There's some magicians where if all they got's a name, they'll just use it. They'll just repeat or intone the name. So well, they're pretty darn close. Well, yeah. If an entity's already close, it helps, but that's not always the case, depending on what you're wanting to work with. Okay, with that. Like I said, everybody, if you want to participate in the challenge, please do, and I'll be going over that Friday during the live stream, the Research and Ramblings. We'll be talking about everything that happened with me and my particular work in that area, and the spell and or ritual that I came up with and have been doing. And of course, Tuesday you can look forward to the video on the arcane pillars. I've been getting a lot of questions about the arcane pillars, and I didn't actually think it'd be worth a video, but with enough questions, I guess it is. So that'll be coming out Tuesday. And we have officially finished recording all the video needed for the Dragon Magic 101 class. So everything's in editing, and it's getting finalized. So barring any technical issues with computers or something, or a corrupted file, we will have the class out April 15th as planned. So the Dragon Magic 101 class, April 15th, we're a go for. And if you haven't already, there's a link for the Discord below. Jump in there, say hi. I'm in there all the time, so it's a great way if you got a quick question to ask me. I am busy, so be patient with me. I try to answer as best I can. And we do have a Patreon now, so if you want to sign up for Patreon, help us out, support the channel, you can do that. You get early information to what's going on, early project info, access to a special area Discord that's Patreon only. And in Tier 2, you're actually included in spell work that I do monthly to increase prosperity, healing, health, all those nice little boons. And then on Tier 3, there's a private Discord only live stream where you get access to me and you can just ask me all kinds of random stuff, and it's a bit more focused than the ramblings or this. So that's if you want to. And with that, hopefully Linda will be back to throw me under the bus more and do her normal chaotic shenanigans next week. Hopefully you guys didn't mind too much me having to do this one solo this week. So, with that, I'm Drake, the Working Dragon Mystic, as Linda always points out. This has been the Magickal Coffee Hour, and I will see you all next week. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful night.